call to order the regular meeting on Monday, December 18th, 2023. We would like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cole? Here. Mr. Hamilton?
Here.
Mr. Knight?
Here.
Mr. Koveski?
Here.
Ms. Davis?
Here.
All right. We have a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any questions? Not? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mr. Koveski?
Aye.
Need a motion to waive the reading of the regular meeting November 20th, 2023 and accept them as written.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Are there any questions? If not, call the roll, please.
Mr. Koveski?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
All right. Is there any hearing in the public?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, thank you. Moving on. Move to the approval of the invoices.
So moved. We pay the bills.
Second.
Any questions? If not, call the roll, please.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Koveski?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
All right, students of the month.
All right, so hey, for school report tonight, we do have Mrs. Hesse here who is going to do just an overview on our special services as well as a little bit of preschool. But before we get to them, I'd like to bring up our two Wildcats of the month for the month of December. And I'm going to start first. We'll go alphabetically here. I was a Y, Mia, so just know as always, you're always at the end. I'm sure you've got that by now. But Tori Barkus. Tori, if you could come up, please. Tori, I'm going to give this to you. I'm also going to give you this as well. If by some reason you would get a gift that looks like it's for a board member, just know I mixed up you and Mr. Cole's gifts, and we'll get those returned later in the we'll get those returned a little later in the day. Same goes for you, Mia, when you come up here. Okay, I may have you check before you leave. All right. So this is Tori Barkus, Victoria Barkus, but goes by Tori. And Tori has been involved in Youth Leadership Academy. She's been a class officer, secretary for 3 years, a National Honor Society member for 1 year, a 6-man mentor, and a member of BPA. Her sports have included bowling, which she has done for 2 years, dance, which she has done for 9 years, and having a daughter that was involved in dance, I know how crazy competitive that can be, and how much time that takes. In the fine arts, she has been a thespian 3 years and a thespian officer for 1 year. She's been a theater stage manager for 2 years. In community involvement, she's participated in the Alzheimer Walk, community service at the food bank, as well as community service at Lighthouse Ministries. Her parents are here with us tonight, Jennifer Barkus and Tim Barkus. And after graduation, she plans to attend the University of Akron to major in graphic designs. And the answer to her questions here, I'm going to do this. The first question is, what is the best thing about being a teen? Tori said the best thing about being a teen is everything being super fast. While it's scary how fast life will pass you by, it's also fun because you get so many opportunities throughout it, and it's just one big, scary, but fun roller coaster. I would agree with that. What is the most important part of school? And Tori said the most important part of school for me definitely would be the electives. While the core classes were important to me, the electives made me choose my path for the future as a graphic designer. So guys, if you would please join me in congratulating Tori Barkus on being one of our Wildcats of the Month. Thank you very much. All right. Mia, come on forward. This is Mia Zellers. I think this ages me a little bit here, but Mia's dad and I attended school together in Minerva here a while ago. So now when people your own age are having kids that are Wildcats of the Month, makes me feel old as well. Mia, just so you know, not that your father's old, but I'm putting myself in the same category here. Mia, I'm going to give this to you as well as this. Again, same disclaimer, if it's thanks you for your board service, just know that's not meant for you. Okay. So this is Mia Zellers. In Mia's clubs and activities, she has been a member of the National Technical Honor Society Community Outreach for 5 months. She has been the National Honor Society Secretary for 5 months. She's been a member of Six-Man Mentoring for 1 year and 5 months. She was a member of Speech and Debate her freshman year. And she has been the FFA President of Animal Science, which is going to be for 10 months. She has been a member of the varsity golf team for 2 years, softball for 3 years, basketball during her freshman year. In fine arts, she has taken the Advanced Foundations of Art class as well as painting. Her community involvement, she's been a part of the Canine Healing Waters Volunteer, which is a therapeutic process based on hydrotherapy. She has been an alpaca farm volunteer. She has volunteered as a leader for Safety World for a week, communal events with the National Honor Society. There's been a variety of them. She's been a church board representative, a six-man volunteer. She's been a six-man volunteer at different activities, and she came up and executed the Paw-a-thon with other leaders of the Animal Science program. Her parents here are Joshua and Azareh Zellers. Did I get it right? And I appreciate you putting that spelling on there, or pronunciation on there. After high school, she plans on going to college. She's still undecided, but she will be pursuing a pre-veterinary major and a biomedical science minor with intentions of becoming an aquatic veterinarian. And if I just saw it correctly, I just saw an acceptance to Ohio State. Okay, congratulations on that. Not that that's where you're going, but I thought so on that. So the answers to her questions here: if you could sit on a park bench for an hour with anyone, who would it be? She would pick her past self. I feel like I always ponder what would happen if I could at least have the chance to warn myself before a certain event happens, or tell myself to take advantage of being with someone in a moment. It would be nice to be prepared when dealing with everything, and just a chance to assure myself I will be okay, and if anything, this will make you stronger in the end. If anything, this will make you stronger in the end, would have been the words I needed to hear all along. What is the best thing about being a teen? Mia says, I would say the best thing about being a teen by far is being able to have the time to gain so many new experiences. For example, since I have been in animal science, I've been able to shadow a worker at the Akron Zoo, volunteer at a hydrotherapy business for canines, work with alpacas, maintain hives with beekeepers, along with numerous others. All because I have gained experience working around a variety of species. In my teen years, I have just enough freedom and understanding that this is the perfect time to be able to test the waters of my future and place myself into those uncomfortable situations. If your high school experience had a theme song, what would it be? If my high school experience could be summed up by one song, it would be Life is a Highway by Rascal Flatts. In fact, I believe this song can resonate with everyone. Not only is it an upbeat song, but it also talks about not just happiness, but also the hard times everyone faces. My experience with school has been bumpy. However, that is only because it was doing exactly what it was intended to do: challenge me. It is not an easy journey, but as Rascal Flatts puts it, there is a world outside every darkened door, and we continuously open these doors until we get to the very last one. All these doors are amazing opportunities, and I would not want to miss any that this education has led me to. Excellent job. Thank you. Please join me in congratulating Mia Zellers as well. Congratulations, Mia. And for both of you, and obviously your parents, thank you so much. Listen, I like to think that we have a great school, and it's because of, I'm in charge, which nothing could be further from the truth. It honestly is our kids, and you guys, Tori, Mia, awesome. Very, very proud of you, and really appreciate you being such great leaders here for us here with everything. So thank you very much. Again, like I told both of you, you are welcome to stay, and I have lots of more exciting things to say, but if you want to go and enjoy, we know it's holiday times, hope you guys have a great holiday, Merry Christmas, everything, okay? Thank you, guys. And then we will turn it over to Mrs. Hesse here, ready to go.
Next, do I have to turn those on? Okay. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to present. It seems like December is my month, being able to come and talk about the Special Services Department. You have a handout of just some of
the data that I wanted to be able to go over, but I'm not going to pinpoint every single one of those things as I share with you what's going on in my department. Special services, number one is that I do take care of the students with disabilities in the district as well as out of the district. I have 2-year comparative data for you to be able to see for this year and last year at this specific moment of time. Please remember that the students with disabilities numbers does ebb and flow throughout the years. We have students that become eligible and students who do exit services. But if you'll see for the past 2 years, we do have numbers within 4, currently right now in December. I have the 3 specific buildings as well as preschool on there. All those numbers are very similar going across. The ODE scholarship opportunities, I always want to make sure that you are aware of. That's the John Peterson and the Autism Scholarship programs that parents, if they so choose, that they want to step away from their public school system, and this would be anywhere in Ohio, are able to use public funds to be able to get their special education services taken care of at maybe a non-public school, a parochial school, homeschool with tutoring services. But we are still responsible for writing that IEP and funding those special design instruction services. So those are on there. I have the number for open enrolled, court, home placed, and superintendent agreement, and those are my students that I could have in parentheses as out. But those are students that choose to not be here. And I think that's important that I share with you that we have 15 that are open enrolled out, 5 that are court placed out, and 4 that are homeschooled out currently, that we still are responsible for maintaining and monitoring what's going on with their IEPs and all of their specially designed services. At the Stark County DD, I have our numbers that we do have 4 that are currently attending there. Then we do have a district placed out of district, meaning we as a district have determined that it's more appropriate for some students, due to the level and nature of the services that they need, we do contract with outside agencies, such as the Stark County ESC and different private organizations that we might contract with to be able to take care of our students. It is always our goal, though, that all students are taken care of here at Canton Local, in our 3 buildings, within our preschool program. We do our best, and it is always our intention to try to bring students back once they're ready to come back. So you'll see that sometimes that's an ebb and flow number also. This year we have some pretty big ones that came back, and it was a lot of pats on backs to teachers and parents as they make the decision to be here. I'm excited about it. One of the things that I also want to share with you is that we do have open enrolled students that come into our district, and we have, we have 8 right now that are currently coming into our district that are residents of another district, but that opt to come here instead. We also have court-placed in students. These are students that are home district or district of origin out of our district that do receive services here because of a court order or a family placement. So I want to make sure that you are aware of all the different types of enrollment and roster numbers that we might have. Students that are receiving specially designed instruction through their IEPs don't only get the specially designed instruction from our intervention specialist and our general education teachers. So across the bottom of that page 1, I have all of the related services that we provide. These are services that are offered to be able to support the programming that we have to enhance and to be able to make the services more accommodating, more accessible for our kiddos. So that could be occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, vision therapy, which is new to us last year, and audiology. The special education staffing on the top of page 2, we have not made any major shifts in that due to the fact that our numbers are very similar. The staffing that we currently have in all of our buildings does match up with state recommendations for the populations of students that we have, as well as the numbers that we have in our district. Speech therapists, just to let you know, we do have 2 district speech therapists that take care of K through 12, but then we do have for our preschool program, because most of our students with disabilities that do attend our preschool, most of them do have language-based disabilities. So there is 1.5 allocation for speech therapy for preschool, but that is an ESC contracted position. That is not a district contract. We have occupational physical therapists, audiologists, and vision specialists that are all contracted through the ESC. We have our behavior coach that does offer services for kids kindergarten through 12th grade that are identified as needing special services, but then also works with our general population, general education students. Our behavior coach did have the opportunity, many of you might have seen down at the OSBA conference last month. We did present, taking me completely out of my comfort zone, presenting in front of a professional organization, but we did have so many districts reach out to us, superintendents, director of special services, curriculum directors, board members, contacting us and going, how'd you make it work? Congratulations. They were very impressed with what we were doing here at Canton Local. And then we do have 2 school psychologists that are currently on contract that work with elementary through 12th grade also. If we do need a preschool psychologist, which there aren't many each year, but we do contract through the Stark County ESC for preschool psych services. At the special education department, because that is still my primary, that doesn't mean that everything else doesn't take a top billing at my desk, but special education is what I was brought in here to have charge for and take care of in our district. So I want to make sure that you know what my goals are, what we are guiding towards with Mr. Yegley to be able to support our students with disabilities. Special education does not start once you have or have been identified as needing an IEP. Special education starts with that general education initiative and working with our curriculum director, Tricia, improving our tier 1 supports, meaning that general education initiative, that is huge. So my department then benefits from all of the work we've done collectively in the district with Tricia, improving our ELA curriculum, our math curriculum, our science, our social studies. That's where the origination is of our specially designed instruction. So that's tier 1 and moving into tier 2. So I help Tricia monitor that and make sure that we have that good implementation, but then we move into specially designed instruction, and that is that tier 2 and tier 3 services. That's where I'm looking at specifically improving the achievement data for our students with disabilities. Not just the achievement data. We look at the behavioral, we look at the social emotional, we look at the environment, the family structure, to be able to help all of our wildcats, all of our students. So those are 2 my main charges, to try to improve the academic skills of our students. But I can't do that unless I have 100% legal compliance. Anybody who's following anything through IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, it is not easy to follow. There are so many rules and regulations that we need to follow. We, from my desk, with my assistant, we are making sure that we are on top notch with all of our data compliance, our time compliance, and making sure that our documents are easy to be read and understood by our parents, our teachers, to make sure that we have the programs completely in place. I want to be able to share with you, and at any point you are able to access these through public websites. We do get a special education profile and a report card from the Ohio Department of Education. They always give us a December report, and yes, Friday, I had my Merry Christmas, is that our first data dump into our special education profile. We had a 7 out of 7 as 100% compliant on our compliance data. So that's, I know I kind of repeated that twice, compliance data, but that is what, if I'm not compliant, I can't do all the other stuff because I'll be sucked into ODE's corrective action world. So we got that first report. The district's doing great, so we don't have any corrective action. Another part of my department is doing the Section 504, the Americans with Disabilities Act. I gave you the data that has 3 years of trend data of how many students we do have on a 504 plan. A 504 plan is different from an IEP. A 504 plan provides accommodations to students that may have a medical disability that may impact their access to the curriculum. An IEP gives specially designed instruction and accommodations. A 504 gives the accommodations. So you have your numbers there. English language learners, this was not on your last report that I gave last December, but I thought it was important to share with you the trend upward of our students that are coming into our district that do have English language learning needs. We are up to 12 this year. Okay, compared to special education numbers, that is not high. But I think it's important for the board to recognize that we do have students that are now coming into Canton Oval, into Stark County, and our little region that have zero English. They're coming to our doors without having any English education nor language. And I think that's important as our teachers are trying to embark on trying to figure out, what do we do? So we do have a tutor that we've hired, Jennifer. She is phenomenal. We do have her for 20 hours a week. I'm hoping that that is going to be able to be sufficient, but that is what we used to use for our students that would come in with minimal English. Now we've got no English. So there's a difference there, and this is a trend. You know, just from when I started here 5 years ago, we had 4 kiddos, and they all spoke English. We're up to 12, and many of these do not speak a lick of English. So I want to think about that. Nursing. I am so proud to be able to still announce that we have fully staffed clinics in all 3 buildings. I have data on there. I'm not going to go over each individual thing to share with you how many students go through our clinics. It's amazing. But the goal of both our district nurse and our acting children's nurses is to see a kid, assess a kid, and get the kiddos back to class. If they don't need to go home, it is our goal to keep kids in school. Keeping them away from out of the classroom is not, they're missing instruction. So we're working with the elementary and middle school teachers specifically right now on what things to send a kiddo down to the clinic for, holding on to them for a few minutes before in the classroom, before they get sent down to the clinic. And it's working. We're trying to keep kids in the classroom as much as possible. I want to highlight something that our district RN, everybody knows Lori Serafini, she did partner up with the Stark County, the Safe Kids Stark County Coalition, and they donated bicycle helmets. I think maybe there were some pictures on Facebook of our classroom up here at the high school, the intensive needs classroom, that they were all had helmets donated to them to be able to get out, exercise more, and be safe. Another thing I'd like to highlight is that we do still have the stock meds on site, albuterol for rescue breathing. We this year have had 11 administrations of the albuterol. I'm glad to say the epinephrine is 0 and Narcan is 0, but we do still have those on hand. Wildcat Preschool. The last thing I really want to highlight, we have 108 seats here at our building. But we serve a lot more kids than that because we also have students that are served itinerantly. We are full except, I will put the caveat in there, we do have 3 students with disabilities spots still open in our SKIP program. So to review, I've got 60 ECE, which is the Early Child Enrichment Program. That is for our income-based population. We have 24 classmates in our SKIP program. These are typically students that are typically developing, and then we have 24 spots for students with disabilities. I'm short 3 on students with disabilities, but that does not mean they're not going to be filled. We have a long list of students that are waiting to be evaluated that might not be meeting age eligibility requirements, or they have not given us all their registration information, or they're right now currently in the evaluation process. So all of those spots are good as well filled. We just don't have them sitting in the seats yet. But we do have 121 kids being served right now as preschoolers, even though we only have 108 seats within the building. And that's because we do have students that are being served itinerantly through area preschools, and some are parents that have opted not to send their kids to preschool and that just bring their students in for appointment-based services like speech therapy or occupational therapy. So I know I probably went over an amount of time, but I have a lot of passion for the department, and anything that comes across my desk, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out at any time. I think you all know that I have a open door policy.
Do you guys have any questions for Victoria?
Yeah, thank you very much for
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Fred.
All right, we'll move to treasurer's report.
Okay, we've got 5 things tonight on the treasurer's report. Item A, as always, is the monthly financial reports. This is for the month ended November 30th. Total deposit accounts at the end of the month, $1,628,229.75, and total investments of $15,503,837.59, for a total reconciled balance after our outstanding checks of $17,001,539.56. That's page 1, the cash reconciliation. Page 2 and 3 of the report is the cash position report, which ties to the reconciliation showing the reconciled balance. Page 4 is a listing of all of our investments that are held at U.S. Bank through Meter is our financial advisor for that, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But the total investments there tied to the reconciliation as well. And then the last page of the report is the comparison for financial activity this year compared to last year, and then our estimates compared to our actual. In total, our receipts are up close to $1 million over last year. We did expect an increase in public utility taxes, which we saw, and foundation, so those are positive things. Also, we're up $400,000 over what our estimates were, so even higher than what the increases we thought. On the downside, on the expenditure side, we're spending about $765,000 more than we spent last year. Pretty good chunk of that is the one less premium holiday we had this year compared to last year, because we took those in July and August last year. This year we just got the July one. That's about $400,000, and we're spending about $500,000 over where our estimates are at. So we ended November with $15,350,740 in the general fund last year, with $13.8 million in the general fund. So that's the monthly financial reports. I recommend those for approval. Item B is a then and now certificate for purchase order 24001041. And this is one of the students that Victoria was talking about that was placed out of district. This one happened during the school year. And the way that the company bills, they bill prospective billing, so they bill ahead rather than after, which most of them do. So our purchase order date is actually a couple of days after the invoice date, so it requires board approval. So I recommend approval of that purchase order in the amount of $24,000. Item C is an investment management agreement. This is just an update to our management agreement. There's no change, it's just updating the dates on it. We've used Meter Investments for the past 3 or 4 years now. No issues with them, and they do a good job for us finding investments that tie to our investment ladder and maximize our interest earnings while making sure that we have the cash needs that we have throughout the year. So I recommend approval of that agreement with Meter Investments. Item D is a change order with Vasco for the tennis court project. This is in the amount of $25,000. This is to replace 250 feet of 6-inch sanitary sewer line. Part of the project, part of the plans was to replace a portion of the sewer line that they had to excavate. They did that, and when they were looking at the remaining sewer line, they actually did video of that, ran a camera through it, and there was some deterioration in that line. It runs underneath the tennis court, the remaining amount of that line. So rather than face the prospects of having to tear out a brand new tennis court a couple years down the line, we can go ahead and get that fixed now. We'll have brand new sanitary line from the building out to the street. So I recommend approval of that change order. Last item, we have some appropriation modifications for approval here. The Permanent Improvement Fund, $100,000 increase to cover the transfer that we made for the HVAC contingency portion of the project. And then the next two, Title I and Title IIA, are both carryover increases from last year. So we carried over remaining grant funds to this fiscal year that were just approved. $353,162 in the Title I grant and $46,505 in Title IIA grants. I recommend items A through E for approval.
I so move on items A through E. Second.
All right, any questions? If not, call the roll, please.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
Mr. Cole? Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye. Okay, that brings us to communications, committee reports.
So as far as athletic council, just keep everybody, obviously, we're starting right into our winter sports seasons now. Bowling is already on the way. Well, girls basketball, I feel like as a Browns fan, I feel like that's what I'm looking at when I see our girls basketball team right now is about 40% of our starting lineups out with some injuries right now, but they are battling. And I believe, Mr. Knight, correct me if I'm wrong, are we 4-1 or 5-1 now? 5-1. I knew we were right there on that. Boys basketball, we obviously got off to a late start because of the success of our football team, but we're sitting at 2-1 right now with that. And our wrestlers are starting to hit that tournament cycle now with everything. So we are really excited about what hopefully the winter sports season brings. Student reps to the board, I have to be very honest, not sure. I don't know if it's exam week, and they are not here with us here tonight. I thought they were going to be, which is why I have water set up, so I'll check on that. But I know a lot of things just going on right now, guys. We have had, and I've seen some of you here, we have had so many between, I believe we had a first grade musical program that was awesome here. We had our middle school choir, our high school choir, our band. I want to give a big shout out to SOS and Amy Hogue. She has our students out performing all over the place, giving them great opportunities. And our SOS, our choir program is outstanding, but our SOS does a fantastic job. I'm just really proud of them and the way they represent our school every time they go out there. So lots of good things going on with the arts. Our high school students are right now on an exam schedule, meaning they are coming in, taking their exams, leaving as they go, trying to get them ready for when they go to those college classes there and they have to take those big exams. I have a daughter at home right now that is studying away, the first time stressing over that stuff, so trying to reassure it's going to be okay. But I know there's a lot on our high school kids right now, and lots of fun things going on at the elementary and middle school these next couple of days as we send our kids off in the holiday break. Facilities here, we're going to give a little bit of an update. I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Schatzel just to let you know kind of where we stand right now coming into the building of this HVAC program that we're going to be able to get and kind of where we are right now.
So as you remember, we did get the governor's grant for CT expansion. The project's between $4 and $4.5 million. They did give us a pretty good cushion there, a generous contingency amount in that project, so that way we can make sure we can build the building. We did have to set aside $300,000 of our own funds for contingency as well in the permanent improvement fund. So where we're at right now, and this is a pretty tight timeline, they wanted districts that were ready to move with projects. So we did put out proposals for architect and design services, and those were due last week. So we opened those, we had 6 of them. We reviewed those and scored them, and we should have a recommendation at the January meeting for that. And then for CMR services, we went ahead and did that proposal at the same time. Those were due this past Friday. We only received 2 proposals for that. We're in the process of notifying them. We do have to interview both of those, go through a process to make a selection on those. Hopefully, we'll be able to complete that early January. In order to keep the project moving and stay on pace, it may require a special meeting in January. I don't think we're going to have it for the January 8th, if we approve that date for the organizational and regular meeting. I'm not sure we'll be able to meet that deadline to have that recommendation, so it may require a special meeting, but if we can get both of those done before the end of January, we feel pretty good about where we're at with design services and getting the CMR in early, so that way they can do some value engineering and looking to break ground in as soon as school's out in June then, hopefully. We're required to have the project at a point where we've got bids and it's obligated by September 30th of 2024. So we have to be in a position where those contracts are in place by then. So it'll move quick, and hopefully we can have this project completed and ready for students by the 25-26 school year. So it's pretty exciting, opening up some extra opportunities for South Start kids.
And I just, as I throw this out here on that, we have such a need for these types of programs. Mr. Cole and I were talking a little bit before the meeting tonight about someone he knows that came over and is in our welding program, and just the difference that the family sees with their child right now because they're being successful, wanting to come to school. We have so many kids that want this and need this. if you go back, we have over 100 kids right now on a waiting list to get into one of our career tech programs. And that's not just Canton, but that's Perry, East Canton, Sandy Valley too. But this is going to open up 25 more spots for juniors and 25 more spots for seniors. I honestly wish we could do more, but I'm very excited about this opportunity. You guys have any questions on what Jason just shared? Thanks, Jason. Curriculum and programming, holding off on that right now, finance audit, and then just biggest thing for me right now is just want to say thank you to our staff, our teachers, everybody, just for, what has been a very good start to the school year. It has been, when you talk to lots of people, listen, there are challenges. There have been things that are not easy, but it has been a really good start and something that we are really proud of, just our kids, our staff, our teachers, for when I talk to a lot of teachers, I hear, man, this is the best year I've had in a long time. This is the best year I've had in a long time. And I think it's very important for all of us to remember, this work is never easy. Like sometimes we think back, we think of the pandemic, we think, oh, it was so much better. No, it was really hard back then too. And it is really hard. Our teachers are working very hard. Our support staff is working very hard. Our administrators, our bus drivers have been phenomenal. So just want to thank everybody and thank the board for your support as we've gone through this, and looking forward to a nice holiday break for everybody and then get back and have a great second half of the year. All right, I guess that keeps me going. All right. Yep, okay, so as we go first, guys, here, resignations, we have 2 of them. Carmela Williams, she's going to resign effective January 3rd. I'm going to talk about her again in just a second. And then Emily Seitz, who's a long-term sub, she's resigning effective as of today, but her last day actually was Friday with us here with everything. So I do recommend that we accept those resignations. As you move down to employment, Bethany Miller would like to be on there as a as a substitute parapro and a non-bachelor substitute teacher as well. She meets all the requirements for everything. Her mom is Nancy Miller, who teaches here in the district. Just to give you a little point of reference, we'd like to recommend she be placed on the sub list for both of those, as we are constantly in needs of subs. I want to talk again, Carmela Williams here. You may be, I tried to put this out, but I want to be very clear. Guys, this was my screw up earlier this year. Carmela was an employee of our district who was a 4-hour parapro at the middle school. As we opened West Campus, Carmela bid for it, and we moved her over there. My mistake was I did not get her placed over here on the board agenda like I should, to where she would have gone to a 5.5-hour parapro. So all school year, she's been being paid as a 4-hour parapro, even though she's been working 5.5 hours. We caught that as she turned in her resignation. I'll be very honest with you, I went and spoke with her to make sure that, hey, did you think if pay was an issue, because we are very happy with the job she's doing for us. She assured me that it's not. She recently finished her degree in criminal justice. She wants to pursue more that way in the criminal justice field, and is working to get on the Starr County Educational Service Center substitute list, so we can call her back in as a sub here and at Canton City as well. So just to be clear, when you see that employment, that's to make sure that we can make it right for her and pay her what she should have been paid, and we're going to do that. Then she is resigning effective of January 3rd. So I just don't want there to be any confusion, but we need to make sure that's taken care of. Ricky Webster is currently a parapro for us at 4 hours. He is bid to take Carmela's spot, and so we are moving, would like to move him over there, and that's why we see him being bumped from a 4 to a 5.5 hours position. Just to be very clear on that, his position was tied to a student that we don't believe we're going to need that position anymore, so we will not be refilling Ricky's position as we make that move. So just in case any wonders on that. The next 3 are volunteer positions. One is a volunteer wrestling. The volunteer gymnastics, guys, we have a student, Corinne Bagley. She does gymnastics. She's our only student. We've done this with swimmers in the past, and we've done this with Corinne. This is Louisville's gymnastics coach. We just have to approve so that he can take her to do the different meets if they go with the kids that are at Louisville. So if you're wondering on that, that's why that is there. And then Julian Powell is a former cheerleader that's around helping, and we just said anybody that's going to be around and even coming to practice and that have to get all their coaching requirements monitoring will not be in charge of anything, but if even helping kids with flipping and spotting and some of the things which you're doing, we wanted to make sure they've gone through all the background checks, all the approval and everything, and that's why you see them on there as a volunteer. So I would recommend that we improve all of them. Gifts and donations, are pretty straightforward and always grateful. The Canton local staff for Thanksgiving donations, Reliable Ready Mix shirt for sponsorship of the construction trades, Kim Rauschenbach for a Veterans Day donation, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Malik Mechanical Incorporated for trade sponsors donation of $150, JWW Auto Accessories Construction Trade sponsoring of $100, St. Nikolai Orthodox Church Thanksgiving meal donations, an anonymous donation to our veterans program, Canton local ABC Boosters donation to our six-man mentoring, Stephen and Mary Dick donations to the Babick Scholarship, Dennis Marlene Marzella donation to the Babick Scholarship, Edward Lee Horn Jr. a donation to the Babick Scholarship, and an Edward McKee donation to the Babick Scholarship. And again, just thankful to everyone that donates to our kids and to our school, and I'd like to recommend we accept them. The next one Jason talked about here a little bit, organizational meeting in January, is just to make sure you're aware, that meeting has to be before January 15th. January 15th this year, if I'm correct, is Martin Luther King Day, so we don't want to hold it on that day. So we would like to recommend that January 8th be the day for the organizational meeting. We'd like to start it at 6, and then just depending on how long that goes, and we'll announce it this way as long as everybody's good, we will immediately start the regular board meeting after that. I think my first year we did it where we waited and ended up having to wait for a really long time, but we started at 6, go as long as we need to, and then we'll immediately go into the next meeting right after, if everybody's good, and we'll do that right here in the Performing Arts Center. Use of facilities, Adam Haller, head girls basketball coach, has submitted a request to use the Red Ash Gym and the auxiliary gym and the middle school gym to host varsity ACAAU tournaments. Adam has always been great about starting to host these and run these, and it does generate money back for our school, and I'd like to recommend that we approve those. Overnight field trips, you see Joe Rutherford there wants to take our wrestlers to Canal Winchester, February 2nd and 3rd. And again, we talked about Amy Hogan, the experiences she's given to our kids, wants to take our SOS program to Tiffin University's Vocal Music Festival. Great opportunity to get our kids out on a college campus and be around some college students there in the vocal music area. And I recommend that we approve those. My last item, G, is for Sunday participation. Matt Dennison has asked that we can hold the football banquet on Sunday, January 7th at 4 o'clock. Guys, as we get into this time of year, trying to find a time to get a banquet, and obviously with the success that we had, it was very short notice to do it when everybody else was, in fact, when everybody else was doing the banquet, we were still playing. So I'd like to approve that. And then the varsity boys soccer team, they did this last year. They have like almost like an open practice. It's optional, but kids can come in and work on foot skills. Again, trying to find time to work around other sports. Sunday evenings are their best opportunity, and we'd like to grant them that opportunity. So I recommend that we approve items A through G.
Make a motion that we approve A through G.
Second.
Any questions? If not, call the roll, please.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Kavesky?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
All right, that brings us to informational meetings, items, board concerns, legislative. Just a couple things on the legislative area. House Bill 6, Save Women's Sports Act, is to require schools, state institutions of higher education, and private colleges to designate separate single-sex teams and sports for each sex. That was passed and sent to the governor's desk for signature, and he, as I know right now, has not signed it as of yet. So there's no indication whether he will sign or not sign it. So, and if he does not sign it and vetoes it, then the legislature has the opportunity to come back and override his veto with a vote. So we'll see where that goes. That's going to be interesting to see how that works out. The Senate also unanimously passed House Bill 101, which includes budget corrections to fix a JVSD budget error to make the minimum state share percentage for joint vocational school districts 10%, up from 5%. So interesting to see how that comes and how that affects us, if at all. Senate Bill 168 allows districts to develop the use of their own framework for teacher evaluations instead of using framework development by the State Board of Education. So that's a big change for us. If it does indeed pass, we'll just see where it goes here. Clarifies that a school district is not required to hold a separate individual public hearing or proposed school calendar but the calendar may be addressed as part of a public hearing or meeting. So the meeting we had before here, if this passes, we would not have to do that. We just do it at a regular meeting, present the draft of the calendar. And it also eliminates seniority as a preference when making reductions in non-teaching staff positions. So that's a major change too. So we'll see, kind of watch State Bill or Senate Bill 168. That has some interesting points. There are others also, but those three really do affect us. So, any questions on that? All right, if not, are there any questions pertaining to the agenda items or board actions?
Not really a question, but just a positive comment real fast.
Certainly.
I just didn't want the board to be surprised. The township partnered with a repository to put an article in the paper about things going on in our community that are positive. So one of the items we called out was, as you probably all know, we this year have overlaid all the township with a community reinvestment area, which has allowed businesses to take advantage of some incentives, so to speak. And so one of them, and we called out the school district as being a great partner in that. And so as of right now, we have about $40 million worth of announced projects. My phone's been ringing every day. Talked to another company today. We've probably got another $20 to $25 million worth of projects ready to roll, which will be, speaking to Jason's topic of revenue, that'll turn into money coming into the school district as well as the township. So just didn't want you to be off on the holidays and get the newspaper, read it, and say, hey, they didn't let us know. So we try to keep right in touch on that. So just wanted to say thanks for the partnership, and we'll keep bringing businesses in.
We thank you for the partnership. It's worked out real well for us and you. Thank you.
And I do want to say, really appreciate it. It's not just Mark, but Mark's sitting here, but Chris, Keith, all of them have been excellent in communicating, working with us. We're working together to put on the holiday parade next year to make sure, everything like that. So I think the more we do together, because we're serving the same people, Mark and I were even talking about as we're doing this concert series here and trying to do some things, even partnering up with them a little bit more, maybe moving into the future. Just, again, the more we can do that benefits our whole entire community, the better for everybody. So appreciate that.
Good, thank you. All right, other business, bullying and harassment report.
Yeah, guys, I passed these out to you here, and this is updated on our website, and this is accurate as of 12/15, because that's when we had everybody fill this out. This is the bullying and harassment report that's turned into us by our building administration, and that we're required to present to you in December. We'll present it to you again in June as well. Just to make it really clear, this is not every time someone says, hey, my child's being bullied, or a kid comes in and says, being bullied. This is every time that, as our building principals go through and investigate out, and please know I've been in that role. There's so many times you hear, hey, I'm being bullied, and then you do the full investigation, you talk to everybody and realize, it's more of a conflict. It's more of but this is what's been determined by our building administration. Yep, this was bullying. So this will be updated on the website. I believe that it was, but I need to make sure I present it to the board twice a year. We do it in December, then we do it again in June. If you have any questions, I don't want to gloss over it. Are there any questions or any? Okay. The next then goes down to our student wellness plan. And I gave everyone a copy of this as well. I presented on this in August, but Jason actually did a really good job of just making sure part of our state requirements, not only do I need to present it at the board meeting, but this needs to be updated on our school website as well. And so this is what's going up, and I think is now up on our school website. But I just wanted to make sure everyone knows this is what we're doing with our wellness and safety dollars and funds that come in from the state. Again, just want to be very clear, make sure you guys know, this is what I presented on at our August board meeting. but it's up there on the website as well for everybody. And this is just a copy of what it looks like on there. And then our final is just taking an opportunity here. I reached out to Mr. Cole prior to the board meeting and asked, we have, at least since I've been here, had a ceremony when people leave the board prior to coming onto the board. Chris did not want that, but we still wanted to take an opportunity and just say thank you to Chris for the 8 years. I guess I should preface this to you. If you get something that seems like a kid's gift, I apologize, I grabbed the wrong one. Personally, Chris, listen, you were a part of who hired me and brought me in here, and taking a chance on a first-time superintendent. To all of you that were on the board, I greatly appreciate that. And Chris, I really appreciate you showing faith in me, and I appreciate the support you've given to me over these last 2.5 years as a board member, and I appreciate the ideas and things you brought. I just go, for example, part of the reason why we just why we just ordered 4 more AEDs is because Chris called me on the phone and said, hey, I'm thinking about this. Do we have enough AED coverage everywhere? And then when you take it back and you take it to Lori Serafini, you take it to Chris Nolan, you take it to him, like, no, these are areas we could be better. It doesn't happen without that phone call. You look at where we went with some of the other things as far as with what we've done with our youth sports, getting everybody on the page. That was a big push coming from you and bringing that forward. And so just on behalf of myself, I just want to say thank you for your time at Canton Local and for the support you've shown me over the last 2.5 years as well with everything.
Yeah, and I want to second that, Chris. We appreciate your service to the community and the students and staff here. We really do. Thank you.
I guess formally, give us up.
All right, any other business?
Yeah, Rick, I'd like to give a shout out to.
Okay.
We had our Booster Club meeting a week ago, and I just want to give a shout out to our Booster Club. And we got Nick in the audience tonight, and Katie, and Laura, and Amy, and all of our coaches. Okay, I know Rick and Tom can appreciate this. Back in the day, we were growing up in the 70s, 80s. I mean, our Booster Club, we paid $5 a person, and the Booster Club was 50, 100 members strong, okay, helping do all these events and everything. These days, our Booster Club is our officers and a couple other people and our coaching staff. And that's who runs all the events that 50 to 100 people used to run back in the 70s and 80s. And just an incredible amount of work. I know we had the craft show the Saturday after the Thanksgiving, and basically, I mean, they took on this incredible amount of work. Them and the head coaches and the staff and some of the students. And I mean, you guys have just had a phenomenal year. I mean, part of it is the success that we've had this fall, and all the events you guys have been to and sold apparel and stuff like that. But I mean, financially, our Booster Club, I don't know that it's ever been stronger. And I'm just saying, the amount of work, Nick, that you guys put out is amazing, right? And I know I appreciate it. I know all of our kids do too.
Thank you. Thank you. From the Booster Club. All right, executive session.
I am ready.
All right, we have a motion, Chris.
Sure. Motion.
Second.
All right, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kavesky?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.